Oh, how anxious I am to hear if you have recovered the good opinion of your neighbors!" "That's just what the riddle was intended to tell you," rejoined Allan. "But if you will have it in so many words, my own impression is that you would have done better not to disturb me under that tree in the park. I have been calculating it to a nicety, and I beg to inform you that I have sunk exactly 3 degrees lower in the estimation of the resident gentry since I had the pleasure of seeing you last." "You will have your joke out," said Midwinter, bitterly. "Well, if I can't laugh, I can wait." "My dear fellow, I'm not joking. I really mean what I say. You shall hear what happened. You shall have a report in full of my first visit. It will do, I can promise you, as a sample for all the rest. Mind this: in the first place, I have gone wrong with the best possible intentions. When I started for these visits, I own I was angry with that old brute of a lawyer, and I certainly had a notion of carrying things with a high hand. But it wore off somehow on the road, and the first family I called on, I went in, as I tell you, with the best possible intentions. Oh, dear, dear! There was the same spick and span reception room for me to wait in, with the neat conservatory beyond, which I saw again and again and again at every other house I went to afterward. There was the same choice selection of books for me to look at: a religious book, a book about the Duke of Wellington, a book about sporting, and a book about nothing in particular, beautifully illustrated with pictures. Down came papa with his nice white hair, and mamma with her nice lace cap. Down came young mister with the pink face and straw-colored whiskers, and young miss with the plump cheeks and the large petticoats. Don't suppose there was the least unfriendliness on my side. I always began with them in the same way. I insisted on shaking hands all round. That staggered them to begin with. When I came to the sore subject next, the subject of the public reception, I give you my word of honor, I took the greatest possible pains with my apologies. It hadn't the slightest effect. They let my apologies in at one ear and out at the other, and then waited to hear more. Some men would have been disheartened. I tried another way with them. I addressed myself to the master of the house, and put it pleasantly next. "The fact is," I said, "I wanted to escape the speechifying my getting up, and telling you to your face you're the best of men, and I beg to propose your health, and your getting up and telling me to my face I am the best of men, and you beg to thank me, and so on, man after man, praising each other and pestering each other all round the table. That's how I put it, in an easy, light-handed, convincing sort of way. Do you think any of them took it in the same friendly spirit? Not one. It is my belief they had got their speeches ready for the reception, with the flags and the flowers, and that they are secretly angry with me for stopping their open mouths just as they were ready to begin. Anyway, whenever we came to the matter of the speechifying, whether they touched it first or I, down I fell in their estimation, the first of those 3 steps I told you of just now. Don't suppose I made no efforts to get up again. I made desperate efforts. I found they were all anxious to know what sort of life I had led before I came in for the Thorpe Ambrose property, and I did my best to satisfy them. And what came of it, do you think? Hang me if I didn't disappoint them for the second time. When they found out that I had actually never been to Eton or Harrow, or Oxford, or Cambridge, they were quite dumb with astonishment. I fancy they thought me a sort of outlaw. At any rate, they all froze up again, and down I fell the second step in their estimation. Never mind, I wasn't to be beaten. I had promised you to do my best, and I did it. I tried cheerful small talk about the neighborhood next. The women said nothing in particular. The men, to my unutterable astonishment, all began to condole with me. I shouldn't be able to find a pack of hounds, they said, within 20 miles of my house, and they thought it only right to prepare me for the disgracefully careless manner in which the Thorpe Ambrose covers had been preserved. I let them go on condoling with me, and then what do you think I did? I put my foot in it again. "Oh, don't take that to heart," I said. "I don't care two straws about hunting or shooting either. When I meet with a bird in my walk, I can't for the life of me feel eager to kill it. I rather like to see the bird flying about and enjoying itself." You should have seen their faces. They had thought me a sort of outlaw before. Now they evidently thought me mad. Dead silence fell upon them all, and down I tumbled the third step in general estimation. It was the same at the next house, and the next, and the next. The devil possessed us all, I think. It would come out, now in one way and now in another, that I couldn't make speeches, that I had been brought up without a university education, and that I could enjoy a ride on horseback without galloping after a wretched stinking fox or a poor distracted little hare. These three unlucky defects of mine are not excused, it seems, in a country gentleman, especially when he has dodged a public reception to begin with. I think I got on best, upon the whole, with the wives and daughters. The women and I always fell, sooner or later, on the subject of Mrs. Blanchard and her niece. We invariably agreed that they had done wisely in going to Florence, and the only reason we had to give for our opinion was that we thought their minds would be benefited, after their sad bereavement, by the contemplation of the masterpieces of Italian art. Every one of the ladies, I solemnly declare it, at every house I went to, came sooner or later to Mrs. and Miss Blanchard's bereavement and the masterpieces of Italian art. What we should have done without that bright idea to help us, I really don't know. The one pleasant thing at any of the visits was when we all shook our heads together and declared that the masterpieces would console them. As for the rest of it, there's only one thing more to be said. What I might be in other places, I don't know. I'm the wrong man in the wrong place here. Let me muddle on for the future in my own way, with my own few friends, and ask me anything else in the world, as long as you don't ask me to make any more calls on my neighbors." With that characteristic request, Allan's report of his exploring expedition among the resident gentry came to a close. For a moment, Midwinter remained silent. He had allowed Allan to run on from first to last without uttering a word on his side. The disastrous result of the visits, coming after what had happened earlier in the day, and threatening Allan as it did with exclusion from all local sympathies at the very outset of his local career, had broken down Midwinter's power of resisting the stealthily depressing influence of his own superstition. It was with an effort